Morning, this is Dan here with Childish Concepts. I just finished off another one of our shredder heads. This one actually is for one of our Street Crusher kits, Street Crusher 224. But as I was working on this, I was kind of thinking about what we've seen as the changes in the shredder head and kind of what we've had to do to correct our problems that we've ran into over the years and just what we do. There's a couple of key points that I wanted to hit here as I'm just kind of thinking about it, because these are kind of not standard. So let's get right to it. Back in 2015, 2016, something like that, and all the way up until just recently, these shredder heads used to be 18 cc's. Well, they've changed the castings. They made them now 16 cc's. I don't really know what the reasoning for it was. Maybe that's just the way that things happened. I don't know. It doesn't matter. When they did that, what happened was this passage that's in the shredder head, that's your breather passage that goes from the bottom end to the top end and then vents out through the valve cover, that either got moved, got made bigger, or whatever. And what happened when they did that, when you go to port these passages, you got to smooth it out. You can't just leave that area untouched, because it just leaves a rough casting, and you're just buying an unfinished head is what you're buying. When you do that, it's super easy to hit air. When you hit air or get a super thin wall down in there, and then eventually the customer is going to be all pissed off when he has a head that has a hole in it. To correct that, what we've done at Childish Concepts is we just go in and plug that off right away. We thread it, and then we get that in there nice and tight, bond it in there with a little high temperature epoxy. Never going to give you any trouble, and then it doesn't create any problems. When you further down the road after you poured it, you just never see anything go wrong. The problem that we run into when we do this is that eliminates your internal vent passage. The hole between the lifters, that's actually a drain back hole. That is not technically a vent. Drilling it bigger, yeah, it helps, but it's not technically what that was designed to do. So when we fix this problem, obviously you either have to vent through a breather, some kind of spacer, whatever. One of the things that we've done for an option is we just drill and tap. There's plenty of meat in there. We drill and tap, put a bung in there. You can see it's not going to interfere with your plug. Works out really well. One thing that you'll find is that when people externally vent, they will use these small little hose barbs. And that's fine, but just one. I mean, if you look at this, it's a 3/16 ID with a 1/4 inch OD roughly, so you can get your 1/4 inch line on there. Just one of those, it's pretty lame. I don't know, does that even fit? Yeah, it pretty much fits in there. Kind of good for nothing. You're half-wittedly going at it. So at Childish Concepts, what we do is we use a 3/8 barb, 3/8, 1/8 inch NPT. They're kind of hard to find, actually, but they work really well, because then the ID, if you look at the ID versus what everybody's using, there you go, that's the difference. It's tough to find good 3/8 line, so on and so forth. What we like to do from that point forward is we use our F&F fuel line. The F&F fuel line is one of the non-hardening fuel lines. I've had the same F&F fuel line on my dyno for, 3 years now. Doesn't harden, works great. It's also very pliable, especially when you give it a little bit of heat. So you take a little heat gun, heat it up. It stretches right over this 3/8 barb, works great. And then you don't need the spacer. You don't need to complicate it all up. Another thing to think about when you're buying a shredder head, even those 14 cc non-shredder heads, those fall under this category, and there's quite a few other ones too, but this is the biggest one that we see today. When we buy a shredder head and we start looking at the relation of the chamber wall to the valve, this is a 28.5 standard stock, nothing special, hasn't been corrected, hasn't been fixed, just whatever, head of the week. At low lift, when we start to see these valves get real close to the chamber wall, they don't flow. I can't really show you the contour of that, but you can see where in a stock shredder head, the first 50, 100, 150 thousandths of lift, it's pretty much well, it's kind of blocked for about a quarter to maybe a third of the valve. The way we correct that over at Childish Concepts is any ported cylinder head, any finished shredder cylinder head, we unshroud the chambers. And that means that we open up the chamber around that valve, particularly intake, but we also do the exhaust because, well, why not? All the way out to where the gasket is going to sit. And then that gives you, if we look at this, let's see if I can get it into focus, you can see where at 50, 100, 150, 200 thousandths, from the point that that valve starts to open, that valve is actually starting to do some work. It's letting some things out, letting some things in, making power, and I mean, you can see the difference. If you don't think it makes a difference, that's okay too. But over at Childish Concepts, we prove our theory on the dyno, and it's definitely something that produces power. Thanks for taking the time to watch our video. I really don't like doing videos because I can't stand the sound of my voice. But, well, somebody over there at Saw Daddy Racing said, Dan, you got to do some videos. You got to shoot some videos. So here we are. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And as always, Childish Concepts, because that's where we want to work with you to get that win. And check this out. This is pretty cool. I had a customer send me this over, I don't know, about 6 months ago. That's pretty sweet. Thanks again. Have a good day.